Why do you even like this game? It's not even good. It's so bad. You're not even wearing the right onesie. It's supposed to be Crash. You're wearing Spyro.
They ran out of Crash ones at Walmart.
Why? Why do you like this game so much?
Because it's peak. Yeah, everybody knew this was coming. Crash of the Titans. Anyone who knows anything about me know that I fucking adore this game. A video on it was going to be made sooner or later, and now that later is here, it's finally time to go into detail about why I love this game so much. The reason I made my last video on the Crash Bandicoot trilogy was to not only talk about a collection of games I love, but to also lay the groundwork for this video. Crash of the Titans at a glance is nothing like those original games. To the ire of most Crash fans, from what I can tell on the internet, there is a small subset of folks who also enjoy the game, but most seemingly are at the very least indifferent to it, if not outright hating it. And as a massive fan of Titans, I get it. The game took Crash Bandicoot, the guy who is primarily known to collect Wumpa Fruit and break boxes in mostly linear levels, and put him in a 3D beat-em-up platformer hybrid, which is not what people come to this series for. People wanted games aligning more with the original vision of Crash, and I get that, but I had no concept what Crash was supposed to be. As I said in the last video, those original Crash games were not where my love of Crash started. It was this game. This was my first Crash game. And I'll admit, yes, to a degree, my fondness for this game could be chalked up to nostalgia. However, I see it like this. Because this was my first Crash game at the age of like 4, I was able to enjoy it for what it was, and even now, despite playing pretty much every mainline Crash game I can think of and knowing full well what makes traditional Crash gameplay so spectacular, I still enjoy this game a lot for what it is, removed from those other titles. I beat this game every year, and I wouldn't do that if I didn't have things I genuinely enjoy about the game. I'm willing to become the Crash of Titans guy on the internet, a D1 Titans defender, if you will. So, let's hop right into it. It's time for some nut polishing.
Episode 1, A New High.
So, the game starts with the gang chilling in front of their house, and one thing I'll immediately say, while I do generally like the voice acting in this game, not everyone is a winner. Coco's voice isn't the worst thing in the world, but her opening lines don't leave the best impression.
Help me get this gizmo working! At long last, the world will have a way to recycle butter!
What the fuck would the use for recycling butter even be? Her other lines in the game aren't bad though, it's just at times her voice can be a bit grating. Crunch, whose first appearance was in the awful Wrath of Cortex game, barely speaks here. I dread the day I finally talk about Wrath of Cortex. I sampled it on my GameCube a while ago, and I just did not fuck with it. Hell, my little sister don't even like the game, and she's like 6. But I do like Crunch as a character, even if he is just Mr. T. Now, Crash, as always, doesn't speak, but his grunts and goofy noises are done by Jess Harnell, who I personally know as Wacko in Animaniacs, and I fucking love that show. And his voice work for Crash here, to me, is iconic. I think a lot of Crash's voice lines, though, are recycled from a game that came out before this, called, like, Crash Tag Team Racing. I've never played any of the Crash racing games, so, yeah, I guess he was doing this for a while. Aku Aku is voiced by Greg Eagles, commonly known for Grim from Billy and Mandy, which is another fighter show. I think his Grim voice fits Aku with the vibe this game was going for. He definitely loses that mysterious supernatural aura he had in the original games, but I think he works fine here. Soon after, Cortex pulls up in a metal blimp, okay, and proceeds to freeze Crunch and capture Coco and Aku Aku. Lex Lang became the new Cortex voice actor in Crash Insanity, and I swear this man must be smiling ear to ear reading his lines in the booth, because he is so good as Cortex. He still voices him to this day in Crash 4. His delivery makes everything he says so funny to me.
I'm off to do bad things! Ta-ta!
Going over voice actors in games like these is just so cool, because when I recognize some overlapping ones from other projects they've been on, it just feels so fascinating to me for some reason. It's like, Uka Uka has the same voice actor in this game as Jake in Adventure Time, like what? After all this, Crash makes the lob of the fucking century and knocks Aku Aku's cage down with Coco's device, and from here the game actually begins. Crash controls pretty well and is sporting a bunch of cool movement options to play with. A lot of my favorite 3D platformers like Mario 64, Ratchet & Clank, or Sonic Heroes all have neat movement options that flow into each other that help you better accomplish the goals in their respective games, while also being satisfying in of themselves to perform. Off-rip, Crash is a double jump, a backflip that goes higher than a normal jump that you can do by flicking the stick back before jumping, and it can be combined with the aforementioned double jump for extra air, all of which can flow seamlessly into his mid-air hover to slow your descent and help with lining up your jumps while platforming. Each of these moves are satisfying to pull off due to the stick motions and the sound design, and if you want to get stronger, you're going to be doing these moves a lot to gather the main collectible, Mojo. This blue stuff that's fucking everywhere and in everything. Plants, mailboxes, pools, boxes, bombs, everything. They're super satisfying to collect, and they come in different sizes worth different amounts, which makes finding them out in the open a joyful time. Especially because collecting enough to fill out this meter at the top of the screen will unlock upgrades for Crash, which can be anything from new combos and abilities like his classic spin attack, or the gyro hammer, which is a good move for when you're surrounded by enemies and need something to get them off of you. But you can also unlock straight up upgrades to his movement options. The aforementioned spin kinda acts like this, and his new board slide move, which at the tap of a button Crash will whip out an Aku shaped board and slide around on it, which can be used on downward slopes to gain speed. The spin is amazing though. It's faster than just walking, it can draw in nearby mojo quickly, and it's a great tool for crowd control when fighting enemies. Which, speaking of, you quickly run into the first minion type in this cave, and one detail I love about the enemies is that sometimes you'll run into them while they're just having a conversation about random shit, which can be anything from more details about the villains' plans, or just funny banter between the minions themselves. The Ratnicians are all voiced by fucking Tom Kenny, so for me, it's funny hearing SpongeBob talk about killing Crash and what it's like working for Cortex.
Obviously, yes, everyone knows that. Yeah. But what most people don't know is that paramelamorphlia creatures are immune to mojo control. But that means they can never learn to love the master. Yes, you are down like a clown, my righteous colleague. So stay sharp. We have got bandicoots to subdue. Science is fun. Science and learning. Why are we gathering up all this vegetarian nonsense anyway? Boss Girl has us working way too hard.
What about some plan for me? Something about needing tiles, material, for a huge robot she's building up.
Not a robot, it's an automaton.
What?
You heard me, it's an automaton. I'm sick and tired of this conversation. If it's self-directed, it's an automaton.
Look, I'm sorry you lost the spelling bee, but you don't need to let it go.
Get back to work, Bubbles.
Killing minions also drops mojo, but more importantly, they're a part of the end-level goals to meet if you want to fully 100% the stage. Every level has a set number of minions the game wants you to defeat, as well as 3 of these little total robots called Spybots hidden in each stage that you have to destroy, and then varying number of hits in a combo to get to that changes per level. The spin helps a lot with that last goal, because it can rack up hits quickly, especially if you're surrounded by enemies, while also granting you access to the spin jump at any time with the press of the A button, which allows you to avoid getting hit and reposition yourself to continue building up your combo. I don't know what else to say. Bobbing and weaving in and out of hordes of minions, taking them out and collecting their mojo while getting my combo count as high as possible is a fun and satisfying gameplay loop for me. And that's before the main gimmick of the game makes itself known after Crash clears out a group of minions attempting to break into Aku's cage.
Let's just go already.
Ah, yes, the Titan mechanic. Beat up on one of these monstrosities enough and eventually you can take control of one. The first one you're introduced to, the Spike, is a cool one design-wise, and his ability to raise, well, spikes out of the ground is also pretty cool. These Titans are way stronger than Crash is by himself, so oftentimes the game makes you use them to break down walls or clear out rooms of minions or other Titans. Kill Titans also drop more mojo than minions do, pushing you further towards the next upgrade. Some standout favorites are the Rhino Roller, which barrels over enemies and fellow Titans with ease, and the animation Crash has when taking control of him is pretty satisfying to watch. I also love the animation that happens when you get ran over by one. Another one I really like is the Sludge. It's a disgusting Titan made out of presumably waste, but it's unique because it can go into the ground and erupt with a massive uppercut that's really satisfying to do. We also gotta shout out our massive Titans like the Scorptorilla. Gotta love the raw destructive power this one packs, and to shrink back down, the Battler is another favorite with its wings being akin to sharp razor blades. Levels are often comprised of some Crash platforming segments, usually followed by some minions to fight, then leading to a larger combat section with Titans that ends with a platforming obstacle, usually forcing you to kill the Titan you're on. If the game is feeling generous, there might be one of these little mojo machines lying around that you can use to sacrifice your Titan and get some extra mojo out of it. It may sound repetitive, but something about this just does it for me. Whether it be the satisfying platforming challenges or just running into a group of enemies with a mojo multiplier and disposing of them as efficiently as possible to quickly watch this circle fill up. And there's also mojo challenge rooms in every level where you can use Crash or the Titan's abilities to complete a challenge to be rewarded with this doll that sits nicely on the level select screen to show that you completed the mojo room. These can range from breaking targets with the Sniper Titan, killing every enemy without falling off the gore, or simply picking up the required amount of green mojo before the timer runs out. They're not the most creative challenges ever put to a video game, but I'm glad these are here nonetheless because I just like playing through them. The only other collectible you can get in a level is the concept art doll, which lets you view some, well, concept art for the given level. Which if you choose to play this game, I highly recommend going for them because the concept art for this game is amazing and worth looking at. I've spent way more time talking about the game and its mechanics rather than the story itself though, and well, that's because I'm not gonna pretend that the story of this game is the reason why I come back to it. Yeah, there's a couple lines in the cutscenes that make me laugh, and I do love seeing how Crash bounces off of Aku Aku, but the long and short of it is that Cortex kidnaps Coco, he goes around stealing Mojo to help him power his ultimate machine, the Doominator, which after Crash defeats him at the Mojo repository, he gets replaced by his niece, introducing Crash to Insanity, which is a whole other game I have to look at one day, Nina Cortex, who then mind controls Coco to have her build the Doominator. From there, one by one, Crash confronts all the other villains in this cutscene in their respective facilities to gather more information on Nina's plan, until he winds up in Uka Uka's lair, where after defeating a souped up version of him powered by the Evolvo Ray, which is a pretty cool callback to the first game, the duo then storms Nina's base of operations and put a stop to both her and the Doominator, saving the day, but not before Nina makes an abortion joke.
Crash! Get out of my robot! This is my body and my right to choose!
Yeah, I'm not here for the story. I'm here for this level design and the feeling of adventure running from stage to stage. I absolutely love Wumpa Island as a location. It's so varied in aesthetic as you crawl over different parts of the island. The jungle is such a beautiful area with cool flora and fauna, giant mushrooms, and rushing waterfalls. I wish there were 1 or 2 more levels set here. You can always see your destination far off in the distance in this game and the path you take to get to it, and the environment can tell a cool story without a word having to be said. Perfect example being in episode 5, where you start in the jungle and use the new slide mechanic you got in episode prior to cut through the jungle, but slowly it turns from a green lush area to a desolate wasteland of dead trees because, well, Cortex is sucking the natural resources dry and you begin to see more of that in the machinery around. Episode 14 through 17 are another amazing example of this. I love the Uka Uka set of levels so much. There's this massive tree you see in the background you're scaling the cliffside to get to, and most of the platforms have actual reasons to be there, whether they're rock formations around the cliff, mushrooms growing off the tree you bounce on to get higher and higher up, or seeing how you're traveling alongside a massive tree trunk going in and out of this hazardous tree. It's all so interesting. Not to mention it's all propped up by a catchy fucking soundtrack. This game has some bangers in its OST that I feel like as far as Crash music goes is still slept on even now. This game also has multiplayer that's fun to play around with. I kidnapped my roommate and had him play some of the game with me, and through opinions he formed totally on his own, he came to the conclusion the game was pretty cool too. You love to see it. I was originally going to make a much longer video talking about every version of this game and why I think they're all great, but I took way too long to get to Titans in the first place, so I decided to focus on the version I have the most to say about. But I do want to mention my love for this game goes beyond the Xbox, Wii, and PS2 version of the game. I got plenty of memories loving the Game Boy Advance version. I gave the DS version a spin too and came out loving that. Hell, I even like the version for this game on Java phones. I think the sprite art is dope. Crash of Titans is a very special game to me. As one of my very first games I played and continued to play as I got older, I always found new things to appreciate about it, which is the type of game you love to have in your life. But that's enough of me gawking over Crash of Titans. It was fun revisiting the original trilogy so I could make a video about this special game, but now it's time for me to fulfill a promise to a dear friend, and talk about another special game. If you've seen the update video, you know what it is. Next time I'll be talking about Hollow Knight in its entirety, so I hope people look forward to that. Until then, as always, stay safe, peace. Heyo, hope everybody watching this enjoyed the video and all that stuff. Yeah, this one was pretty fun to fucking make because it was about fucking Crash of Titans, and I love this fucking game. But, yeah, nothing very much to add here. Just wanted to say that if you're watching this, be safe because people are crazy, and, yeah, peace. Bye-bye.